everyone, thank you for listening to the Pain and Panic Trip Planning Podcast. My name is Haley Ragsdale, and I'm here with my brother Owen Rederer.
Hey, y'all.
Owen, anything cool going on in your life right now?
No. Waiting on the next
Not.
Disney trip. That's all.
Amen.
Yeah.
So we're a sibling duo who loves everything Disney, especially the theme parks. I'm a travel agent affiliated with Academy Travel, and I would love to help you plan your next Disney vacation. You can reach out to me at haley.ragsdale at academytravel.com to start planning your next dream vacation at Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Universal, Adventures by Disney, Disney Cruise Line, and so much more. So last week we talked about Epic Universe, which is opening at the end of May at Universal. Which super hyped for. We kind of did like a deep dive into the new attractions, the new lands. It was a lot of fun. Got me super hyped for Epic Universe.
Me too.
I know, right? I want to go so bad now. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. Remember, if you would like to book a trip to Universal, I can also help you with Universal, not just Disney. So let me know. I'd be happy to help. The ticket combos that you can do with Epic Universe are kind of complicated. So reach out. I'd be happy to help you. Okay, today we're talking about the Pixar Theory.
Wah, wah, wah.
If you don't know what the Pixar Theory is, it's basically this concept that this guy, John Negroni, I think that's how you say his last name, came up with, and it's become really popular. But it basically connects all of the Pixar movies so that they exist within one single shared timeline. So it's all basically made up by fans and things, but it's actually pretty entertaining. So we're going to talk about it today.
Interesting. Little backstory, I guess. Well, no, that wouldn't be the word for it. A little insight. I have no idea what the Pixar theory is. I've obviously heard of it, and I love Pixar, and I've heard of concepts of the Pixar theory, but I really don't know what it is. So it's going to be a learning curve for all of us.
Yeah, no, I know, like, I've heard the Pixar Theory before, so I've heard it step by step. And so we're using, but I haven't, like, I don't know, I don't, like, obsess over it or anything. I just know the gist of it. So we're going to talk about it today. If you have questions, let us know. DM us. Let us know your thoughts. This is going to be a good time. It's all just kind of like, whoa, I wonder if they actually did mean to do that. And then some of it, you're like, whoa, that's super far-fetched. There's no way. If you're following along on YouTube, I am sharing my screen now. So we're on pixartheory.com, and that's what we're using to kind of go through the Pixar theory step by step. Owen, are you ready to enter the Pixar universe?
I'm so ready. I'm so ready.
So the website starts out by showing you the movies as they came out in chronological order. So we're starting with Toy Story in 1995. And I think when this came out, Monsters University was like the oldest, so 2013. I don't know if the newer movies are connected, but this is where it stands with this website. So we'll see. Maybe we'll do some more research later. Okay, so it starts with Brave. So according to this website, it says, it all starts with Merida discovering the will-o'-the-wisps magic. The magic turns her mother into a bear. This magic is why animals and inanimate objects, brooms and tools, behave like humans. Magic was utilized by a witch who mysteriously vanishes through wooden doors. Eventually, the magic from the will-o'-the-wisps would lead to the birth of superheroes.
Ooh. Oh, okay. Sure. Gotcha.
What were you going to say?
Well, I'm already a little skeptical about that jump. Right off the bat, talk the magic from the Will-O-Wisp. I mean, do we know for sure that the magic Will-O-Wisp are what caused things to become magic? Or are they just connecting magic from Will-O-Wisp and magic from inanimate objects?
Yeah, I think they're just connecting inanimate objects being magical and saying that, okay, Brave happened in the 14th to the 15th century, and this is where magic was first introduced, basically.
Okay. Sounds good.
So then it takes us to The Incredibles.
Ooh.
Superheroes maintained order in the world, but Buddy, a wannabe superhero, created two things for the demise of superpowered humans. Self-serving AI bots like the Omnidroid and the high-tech zero-point energy electromagnetic energy that exists in a vacuum. This is the pivotal moment where we see machines eradicating their only threat, supers. Eventually, toys start to absorb and draw their powers from 0 point energy, unseen energy that travels in wavelengths.
What? Haley, what is this? These are the biggest. Okay, listen, I'm gonna be here to ask the questions that y'all are thinking. Like, I know that every single person listening to this is like, huh, so how does that I get the connections. I get what he's saying so far. But so far I'm not convinced. Let's just we'll keep it going. We'll keep it going.
Basically, what he's saying is that like the AI bots and this 0 point energy, this electromagnetic energy, is giving like objects and things like that AI ideas or whatever.
See, but I thought the whole point of talking about Brave was that the magic from the Will-O-Wisps, or like that general sense of magic in the story, is the same sense that gives inanimate objects uh, their like ability to move and act like humans.
Yeah, I
Um,
think it's all connected. Like I think the like 0 point energy stuff and the I think the bigger thing here is the machines trying to eradicate supers.
okay, so more of a like
I think.
mental and emotional strength.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So then we move into Toy Story. So Toy Story, the first signs of life from toys are now present due to Syndrome's technological prowess. Toys, sentient objects, come up with a code of rules and learn that human love is another energy source upon which they thrive. These toys discover what happens to toys that are isolated from humans.
Okay. I actually like that little passage. I can understand the connection that they're going for, but I'm gonna see if it really loops back around here.
Okay. Okay. So then we'll move into Toy Story 2. The toys discover that it is dangerous for them to be isolated from humans. We start to see inanimate objects question their purpose in life. For example, Jessie resents her owner, Emily, for abandoning her. Resentment towards humans was not only carried by inanimate objects, but by animals as well.
Okay.
So I guess this is where like we're starting to see like toys and animals and things resenting humans for I guess with the toys it's leaving them.
Okay. I can see where the connection's about to go, but I'm a little confused on where the animals come into play in this movie. I haven't seen Toy Story 2 in a while, so
I I think the animals come into play in the next movie. I think they're
okay.
just prepping us for the next movie. So the next movie is Finding Nemo. In the ocean, we find that fish are incredibly advanced. They have schools, a network, and freeway system. We discover that humans are polluting the earth and experimenting on them. Dory was one of the animals that was experimented on, which is why she is forgetful. There are signs of resentment growing towards humans for polluting the environment, stealing fish, and caging them. Animals begin to be more curious and carry more humanistic characteristics.
Okay. I see the connection they made there. And I see the resentment part because they hate the butt. The butt is
Don't
is
touch
evil.
butt.
Um okay. I think the concept of Dory being experimented on is cool. Okay.
Yeah,
I'll
I agree with that.
I'll
I
stick with
feel
it.
like the animals being experimented on is kind of a big thing.
Yeah.
Okay, Ratatouille. So in Ratatouille, Remy discovers his love for cooking and displays human characteristics. Some of them are walking on his hind paws, cleaning his hands, reading, and cooking. This is the first time we see personal interaction between human and animal, but it is for the purpose of controlling humans. Remy controls Linguini because Linguini does not know how to do anything. That's brutal.
What a shot. What a
Right?
shot.
You suck, Linguini. Um, we see that Remy's rat clan does not approve of the humans and feels both fear and hate towards them.
Okay, just kind of building on that resentment.
Yeah, and building on like animals and like inanimate objects, animals and toys and things having that higher level of intelligence, um, and kind of building off of that. And I think it's like supposed to be progressing, right? Like they're kind of getting smarter as we go through the movies.
Yeah, I'll save some points for the end as well because I'm
Okay.
I'm taking mental notes.
Yeah, we are only on page 6 of 16. Okay, so Toy Story 3. I guess we should have been talking about when these were supposed to be taking place. So Brave was supposed to be taking place 14th, 15th century. We said that. The Incredibles, the 1950s to the 1960s. Toy Story, 1997 to 1998. Toy Story 2, 1999. Finding Nemo, 2003. Ratatouille, 2007. Now we're into Toy Story 3, where it's supposed to be around 2010. So 3 years later, toys have gone through a lot with humans. If you've seen the movie, you can tell why most of the toys have had it being abused physically and emotionally by humans. Lotso the Huggin' Bear straight up hates humans because they use and discard toy objects like they are nothing. He starts trying to take care of his own kind. This provides yet another reason why machines and objects alike are ready to take over. Carl and Ellie write to Andy telling him to get rid of his toys because they know the animosity between toys and humans coming ahead, and that's why they are planning on living in solitude. So
Okay.
Carl and Ellie from Up write to Andy? I
Is
think this.
this?
Oh, yeah, look.
Oh, okay.
You see a postcard from Carl and Ellie written to Andy. Oh, that's wild.
Interesting. Wait. What did he say the reason was? He
For
said,
what? Oh, to get rid of his toys because they know the animosity between toys and humans coming ahead, and that's why they are planning on living in solitude.
okay. Well, we're about to see the up, um, yeah, passage. So, okay.
By and large is important too. So it also shows a picture of by and large's reach beginning to grow, as we can see by the B&L batteries in the back of Buzz Lightyear. So by and large is a company throughout the Pixar movies.
Okay.
So I think that's important to note too. I wonder if back here there was more information on by and large.
Yeah, we haven't been clicking on the evidence. Maybe we need to.
I know. I didn't even realize that was there. Okay, those aren't like anything
Okay,
huge.
yeah. So these aren't really. I
No.
think they're just reiterating what we've already what he's telling us. Which,
Yes.
once again, like I'm seeing where he's going with it, but realistically, I don't know how these connections are. They
That
do
you
seem very
believe.
far fetched. Anyways.
That's fair. Okay, so now we go into Up, which is 2011 to 2016. Carl is forced to give up his house to a corporation, B&L, so by and large, like we just talked about, who makes the
Oh.
batteries for toys, because they are expanding the city. This is foreshadowing. This corporation is the cause for polluting the earth and wiping out life in the distant future as a result of technology overreach. Carl discovers that animals can communicate with humans and sees the bitterness that they have. Charles Muntz effectively trains an army of dogs. This is the start of the tipping point between animals and humans. Years later, the uprising between animals and humans begins. Who do you think won that war?
just just inserting a full-on war inside of the Pixar universe is crazy.
I mean,
I
okay,
mean, I
so
guess.
here's we see the large corporation B&L taking over the world.
Yeah. Okay.
The dogs talking makes sense. I mean, they literally like he has an army of dogs that talk.
Yeah, but I
So that
mean,
makes sense.
I don't know. It seems a little like obviously it's throwing in because obviously the times are very different, right? There's at least 1 year in between each of these movies, and
Yeah.
just looking at we're about to jump from Up to Cars, where it's going from 2016 to 2100, which
Yeah.
that is a lot of time for a war to wage, but it just I don't know. We don't have proof of a war, so this logically so far is a little bit interesting. Okay.
Okay, so we're jumping to cars 2100 to 2200. When animals rose up against the humans to stop the pollution, the machines saved the humans and they won the war.
Okay.
However, since machines helped humans win, it tipped the balance on Earth. Machines slash by and large had to send the remaining humans off into space on a ship called Axiom. All of the other machines were left behind to populate the world and run things. But how do we know cars took over Earth and not another planet? I don't
Um,
know. How do we know?
okay. So that last sentence saved that paragraph a little bit because I was about to
That's
say like
true.
we're about to look at Wall-E, and I already know Wall-E's a wasteland. Like the Earth is.
Yeah.
But anyways,
So this says machines are still heavily influenced by humans, which explains human landmarks and traditions that are prominent in cars, customs like drive-in, movie theater, Route 66, etc.
okay.
So here the axiom is in flight that humans had to flee Earth to avoid extinction during the war.
Okay.
So let's go to Cars 2, which is 2100 to 2200.
So that's
In
the
Cars
same.
2,
That's
huh?
the same. That's the same time period as Cars. Okay.
Yes, yes, it's the same. Yeah, I guess it's the same 100 years. In Cars 2, cars go to Europe and Japan, which shows that it's the same planet as all the other Pixar movies. It also shows that there are no humans throughout the world. The world at this time ends up with an energy crisis as oil is the only energy used for cars. All in All Corporation was using green energy as a catalyst for a fuel war in order to turn cars away from alternative energy sources. That clean fuel could have been used to swiftly wipe out, decommission many of the cars. All in All was run by and Large, which eventually polluted the whole earth due to its use of oil. The whole world becomes unfit to sustain life.
Oh, okay. So
That
I'm already
actually is
seeing
kind of
these
good.
connections. I like this. I think this is clever. This
Yeah.
is making sense.
It like makes more sense to like with the plot of Cars 2, which you wouldn't think like, oh, the plot of Cars 2 is gonna come in like and
Yeah.
actually make sense, but it actually does because they're trying to eliminate green energy because they want to make more money. Term B&L came up with. Okay, this is wild. Here we see an attempt to decommission a small group of cars. Decommission was the term by and large came up with to take emphasis away from the genocide that was actually taking place.
Oh my God.
That's
Jeez.
terrifying.
Oh my. This is dark.
Wild.
Okay.
Right? All right. Wally, 2800 to 2900. Earth has become uninhabitable for hundreds of years due to by and large. The corporation took over the world slash government starting in the 1950s. Wally is the only machine left on Earth after it ran out of resources. He survived because he is fascinated with human culture and also his friendship with a cockroach, which helped maintain his personality and fulfillment. Robots slash machines on Axiom have left Earth centuries earlier. Wait. Machines on Axiom parentheses, having left Earth centuries earlier, show that machines develop a sense of purpose out of the human's dependence on them. Wally is a robot Jesus, and he and his love, the appropriately named Eve, saved the human race and start a new beginning on Earth again. During the credits of Wally, we see the shoe that contains the last of plant life. It grows into a mighty tree. So I guess like what they're trying to say is like he's
I,
I don't know. I think he's
I
more like Adam then.
yeah, I guess yeah, I don't know about Jesus. But I do get what the point he's making with how he essentially gave a new life to Earth. And
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
so I do get that. It's a little, it's just weird phrasing to call Wally Robot Jesus. That's how I'm going to refer to him from now on as Robot Jesus. That's awesome. That's so,
That is wild. Okay, so I think the important thing here too is the shoe that contains the last of plant life grows into a mighty tree, because next we go into a bug's life.
okay.
So 2898 to 3000, that same plant that we see in Wally grew to be the tree in a bug's life. Insects have a longer lifespan in a bug's life. Prior to Wally, an ant can last just 3 months. However, in a bug's life, these ants all survive an entire summer. That's so true. I never thought about that.
Hmm.
And allude to being around for quite some time. One ant states that he feels 90 again. This indicates that ants are sturdier as a result of evolution and mutated genes. Another ant tells Flick not to leave the island because there are snakes, birds, and bigger bugs out there. They do not mention humans, because there are very few humans to make it dangerous enough for insects to worry about. However, one kid did allegedly pick the wings off of the homeless bug. Later in the distant future, animals start evolving into the dominant species.
Okay. I guess I could see. Now, what is this tree that they're talking about? Because it's been a while since I've seen Bug's Life.
It's like the main tree. It's like, I don't know if it's the tree of life, like in Animal Kingdom, but it's like the main tree that they live by. Like their little anthill is by the big tree.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
okay.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Uh, Insects in the future are living and behaving more like humans. There are cities, bars, a traveling circus, and they wear clothes/contraptions. We see that ants in the future can live to be 90 plus years old, so that's all the old ants. Ants in the future invent tools and gadgets. I mean,
Okay.
are you ready? Are you ready for the next one?
This
These are the big ones.
this is about to be a crazy jump. I mean,
It
I
is.
guess it's 1,500 years that we're jumping, but I don't
But still,
know.
are you ready? Are
Yeah,
you
I'm ready.
ready? Okay, so we get into Monsters University. Hundreds of years after Wall-E, animals started changing due to radiation caused by and large. These animals evolved into monsters and accidentally wiped humans off the face of the planet. Monsters University was founded in 1313. This is dated using the monsters calendar, not the human calendar, and shows that it took place almost 1400 years after a bug's life. At Monsters University, they falsely taught the monsters that humans were toxic and from another dimension. This was because monsters were worried about being erased from existence and altering history.
Okay.
So basically, the humans and animals became like a weird, like, because of radiation, combined species that act human but are monsters. Like, and that's how we got monsters.
So so I'm seeing where he says that these animals evolved into monsters and accidentally wipe humans off the face of the planet. But then he
Mm-hmm.
says that they were falsely taught the monsters that humans were toxic and from another dimension. So, was the lie that humans didn't exist, or was the lie that they're from another dimension? Because now I'm getting a little
I
like
think
I
I
feel
think
like he
both
gets
because
well.
they have that fear of humans, but they need human energy, like how
That,
the toys needed human energy.
yeah.
Um, but and then I think the other dimension thing is like because they have to go through the doors to scare humans and all that.
I was about to say it just feels weird because that's what I thought initially as soon as I read or well when I heard the first part is like I know like we know that humans exist inside of the Monsters Inc. and Monsters University world because we actively see them.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think because I know in Monsters University there was something weird with the door. Was that like the
Yeah.
first door or something?
In Monsters University, no, they learn to make doors.
Okay.
Is that what
But
you're thinking of?
yeah, but that's a form of transportation to a different world, I would assume, or a different dimension.
I think that's what they're saying. Yeah, is that humans are from another dimension. I think we need to go to the next one, and I think
Okay, okay,
things.
yeah. Let me
I
let's
think we'll, I think when we get through the last couple, you'll be like, "Oh my gosh!" Okay, so Monsters Inc. Monsters and machines didn't realize their mistake of getting rid of humans until it was too late. They eventually realized that humans were their source of energy and needed to sustain life. Machines help solve that by letting monsters use doors to time travel to the human generations. This leads us to
what?
Boo. So they're not going to another dimension, they're time traveling back in time to when humans were the prominent like species on the planet to pull energy
Oh,
from humans.
that's interesting. Okay,
Mhm.
okay. Now that makes sense then.
Let's see what these say. Sully and Mike using doors to travel back in time to gather energy from human screams and later green energy through laughter. In Monsters Inc., we see Randall sent through a door into the past where he ends up in a trailer that looks newer. Frame, tall grass, tree hanging overhead. In A Bug's Life, we see the same trailer, but it's old and run down, and the vegetation is less and noticeably drier, indicating that it is in the future. Oh, it's wild. It is
Oh,
a planet truck.
I mean, that's solid proof right there. Honestly, that was the best evidence I've seen this entire this entire video.
That's fair. Mike put Boo's door back together for Sully so he could see Boo one last time.
Okay, that's
Let me.
irrelevant.
We didn't look
Thanks.
at the Monsters University evidence. Let's look at that really quick. Animals evolved into monsters, which founded Monsters University. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Monsters were falsely taught to believe humans are toxic. Okay, yeah, we get it. Okay, are you ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
So
We're
this
moving
leads
on.
us to Boo. Boo, sweet little Boo, never got over Sully and became obsessed with finding out what happened to him. She remembered that doors are the key to finding Sully. Later on in life, she figured out how to time travel using wooden doors and goes back to the source of all magic, the will o' the wisps, and creates magic to find Sully by using wood. Boo leaves evidence behind in Brave, two carvings whittled out of wood. They were Sully and a pizza truck, the two things she loves most in life. Although she knows how to travel through time, she does not know how to determine what time period she will go to. Therefore, speculation has it that Boo is the one planting the Easter eggs throughout all the Pixar movies because she has been accidentally going through different time periods.
Oh.
So that means that Boo is the old witch from Brave.
What? They don't look anything alike. That is a crazy. I mean, I guess the Sully and the pizza truck, that is an interesting point and can make sense. Okay. I'll
Mm-hmm.
I'll stick with it. We got one more slide. I mean,
Yeah, Boo's obsession for searching through for Sully is found in her wood carvings in Brave. Do you see that one? That's literally Sully.
yeah, that is Sully. That is Sully.
Literally Sully. Okay. Oh wait, is there more stuff? Okay, Boo discovered that wood was the source of energy all along. Huh.
Okay.
In Monsters Inc., they use doors made of wood because it has the energy to travel in time. The wood from A Bug's Life is the source of Flick's ingenuity. That tree, A Bug's Life, bears a resemblance to the one in Up that Carl and Ellie often visited. This tree was the source of Carl's wild idea of balloons transporting his house. Oh my gosh, that is the same tree. That's wild.
Interesting. Okay.
How did Flick and Heimlich from A Bug's Life show up in Toy Story 2? Time travel. Boo tried to go to the future and could have fallen into the Wall-E time period and kept traveling, stumbling upon the tree in A Bug's Life, and could have brought back a few bugs with her. Okay? Why did the witch turn Queen Eleanor into a bear in Brave? This was Boo's failed attempt at bringing Sully back. The bear somewhat resembles Sully.
That's kind of stupid. I don't know about that one.
Alright, let's see what the last slide says. Discuss the Pixar theory. That's all. It's just telling us to discuss it. So
Okay.
basically, Boo slash the witch from Brave is the connecting piece to everything.
So, okay. So here are some thoughts.
I want to
I
hear a look go.
I can understand. I think, the jump from Cars to Wally was good. I
Yeah.
think Wally to I think the last few were good. Cars to Wally was good. Wally to Bugs Life was all right. Bugs Life to Monsters Inc. Oh, I don't know. But the explanation behind how Monsters University and Monsters Inc. works is interesting, and I think that does have some very good points. I think it does.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
Because I mean, like thinking about how because I think the overlying or underlying theme to all of this is that all inanimate objects, all animals, all monsters, machines, whatever, they all need human connection. That seems to be the underlying theme. Is whether they realize it in the movie or because with Cars, they were saying that they were like, oh, they ran the, I guess, what's it called? They ran the resources out, and without humans being able to, well, actually, no, because humans are the ones who caused that, with by and large.
Well, I think it was a combo. Say they had oil and whatnot left, right?
Yeah,
But they used all of it. So then when they used all of it and then they didn't have the energy source from humans either, they just kind of
dwindled
stopped
out.
working. Yeah, is my guess. I wonder if there's an updated theory.
Yeah, let's look for that. I do. One part of this theory that I have seen is the Easter eggs that are left behind
Yeah.
throughout. Like I have seen those, right? Solely being in Brave, I've seen that before, and I
Yeah.
think what movie is it where the ball from Toy Story is in it? Oh crap! I know there's one of the movies that has
It's
the
in
ball
there
from Toy Story.
a couple times, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, I think
okay.
it's in
Oh
Monsters
my
Inc.
gosh. This gets so this includes Inside Out and Coco
Okay.
and The Good Dinosaur. So
Let's
this
throw them
says
in there.
oh, yeah. So The Good Dinosaur would happen at the here, I'm gonna share my screen again actually. So y'all can see this so you don't get confused with the timeline. Okay. And this is from John Negroni's website. Like, Homeboy has a whole website. So this starts with the Good Dinosaur. So 65 million years ago, this alternate universe of Pixar is kicked off by an asteroid missing Earth and preserving the dinosaurs. Millions of years later, we see first accounts of animals displaying incredible intelligence when left to their own devices, as well as the unique effect humans have on their environment. So then we get into Brave, like we talked about, The Incredibles, like we talked about, Toy Story 1 and 2, Finding Nemo, Ratatouille, Toy Story 3, Up, and then we get Inside Out. So this is supposed to take place like 2015. Pixar finally reveals the source of human energy, its emotions, as well as imagination that has differing levels of power based on the person, as demonstrated in Monsters, Inc. We also meet Bing Bong, an imaginary friend who appears to be based on a comedic monster Riley would have encountered post Monsters, Inc.
Okay. Hey, yeah, yeah. At the end of Monsters Inc., they switched to comedy. I always forget that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So then there's like a part two. So Coco, likely taking place in 2017, the year of its release. Coco will be about an adventure through the land of the dead. Okay, so this was before Coco actually came out. Among possible hints of how human energy transfers itself in the afterlife, perhaps through music and the emotion it provokes. There may be clues hinting at the connection between these corporal spirits and the wisps from Brave.
I don't
And
know
then it
about
gets
that one.
into I don't either, but this sounds like it was written
Before.
before the movie came out. Yeah.
Okay.
Then we get into Wally,
Cars 1, 2, and
Cars,
3.
Cars, Operation Cleanup, Rose
Okay.
due to being solar powered, Bug's Life. So I think it's all the same stuff
They
we
just kind
talked
of
about.
added in. Now, I think adding Inside Out was smart because it does
I do.
add another level to, I guess the energy source from humans aspect. So.
Yeah. Mystery themes, the original
Okay.
theory. Y'all, this is a book. Okay, apparently, Homeboy wrote a book on this.
Well, I mean, we just learned the entire theory in 16 slides. How did he write a book on this? I mean, what more is there to talk about? What? Like he'd have to
I
go into
know.
some serious crazy detail. He probably talks about the Nemo butt.
He
I mean,
probably does talk about the Nemo, but so if y'all wanna read more, apparently this man has
whole whole book. I almost said a
a whole book. He's a writer of books, pop culture theories, and entertainment reviews.
okay. This guy
Yeah,
seems like a
published
cool
his
dude.
first book, The Pixar Theory, in 2015. That's funny.
Interesting.
So yeah, in case y'all want to read up on the Pixar theory,
Okay, let's go back. Let's go back and look at the chart a little bit more
the
because
original one or the one I was just
the
looking at.
original one.
Okay.
Because I think there are some questions I still have.
Okay.
More so, like more so pertaining to the beginning. I think that's where
Okay.
I just
Where are your questions?
so I think the beginning just feels very vague, and I know like it goes into the more detailed parts at the end. Um, but I don't know, just kind of explaining the existence of magic in the beginning, it doesn't really sell it for me, right? Like connecting the magic between
Yeah.
like of the will o wisp and then going into superheroes, like I don't see how that connection was truly made. You know what I
I
mean?
don't know that it really connected from Brave to Incredibles. Like, I think it's just plotting it out in like a timeline based on years, right? So it's
Yeah.
just saying that Brave, we see magic for the first time, and that
I,
magic is a real thing. I think to be able to pull it back to Monsters Inc. in the end, right? And then
yeah.
you have the supers, and then I think the idea was that the supers were supposed to be taken out by all the machines and whatnot. I do know, I don't think this said it in there, but the so I think I could be wrong about this, but I think Syndrome, yeah, and his 0 point energy. So he's basically created a new form of energy or a new form of like batteries that by and large buys from him. Those
Ooh.
batteries are put into like these machines and things. They're also put into like the toys, which is not only an energy source for them, but I think it's supposed to also be how they become like radioactive or whatever.
And become
Like a,
sentient.
yes. So it's supposed to be like that's where that introduction of radioactive materials happens.
Okay, so the focus isn't on the superheroes. I mean, I was really
No.
like, where do the Incredibles come in to this whole theory at all? Like it wasn't making sense to me. But I
Yeah,
see
no.
it's
I
not
think
about
syndrome is the more important part in that.
yeah, I guess the Incredibles inspired Syndrome to become his own superhero using technology. So I guess that makes
Yeah.
sense.
So he's
Okay.
using this technology, making like radioactive materials basically, and toys are going to pull from that. Animals are going to pull from that. And that's how they're creating feelings, becoming more humanoid. And that's basically Toy Story, Finding Nemo, Ratatouille are all examples of how the toys and the animals are becoming more human like.
Okay. I okay, now I see the connection. I see that I think that was the
Yeah.
part I
So there's
missed.
the by and large batteries.
Yeah, those batteries and their I guess magical powers or I don't know. I think that's where I kind of slipped up there. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the existence of this sentient creating batteries is what really did it.
Yeah.
So that's where the
And it was
magic
all
and
through by and large, which is like the big evil corporation throughout all of the movies.
okay. Now, I think okay. Now the sentience of animals is an interesting question, I guess.
So I think so for example, in Finding Nemo, they point out that humans are polluting the earth and experimenting on them. So I feel like by and large is like dumping all of their stuff that they're using to make these electronics and things into the water, into all sorts of things. And so it's polluting the environment, but also introducing this radioactive material into the ecosystem.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. This is making sense now. I'm liking this. Okay. Everything's clicking. Okay. And I see they get more humanoid as time moves on. Okay.
Yes. Yes. What other
Okay.
questions do you have? Or does that cover it?
I mean, I think that's pretty good. I mean, I've never noticed that by and large was a, movie wide, company. So that's interesting. And I think the development that he talks about is also really interesting. Like, the animals becoming more humanoid and, you know, each, I guess, species you'd say, each one of those, like figuring out how they connect with humans, how they should interact with humans. I think all of that's very interesting. I
Yeah.
wonder where Syndrome got the power or created this sentient magic. Do you think he like? Do you think he took the magic from Will-O-Wisp? Like, do you think he found a relic or something that had that Will-O-Wisp magic and made it more artificial, made it more technological? I don't know.
Well, it talks about his high tech 0 point energy, which is basically electromagnetic energy that exists in a vacuum.
Okay.
Like, you know how he'll like point at stuff and
lift
like
it around.
basically telekinesis and things like that. So I think, yeah, I don't know. Because then it says eventually toys start to absorb and draw their powers from 0 point energy, unseen energy that travels in wavelengths.
So then, but that feels like now are they saying that the will-o-wisps are made of 0 point energy? Like, is that I don't know.
Dude, I don't know.
I feel
Call
like that's more
John
of a natural
Marley.
magic versus a technological magic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not
But
saying.
when you think about it, I think in Brave, Boo is the one that introduced magic, right?
Ooh.
So if Boo the witch is the one that introduced this magic, she could have gotten that magic from, you know, the by and large from zero gravity and all that. And then when she traveled back in time, she could have created the Will o' the Wisps.
Well, but then in that case, like, where did Boo exist in the first? Like, okay, well then that doesn't make any sense because if you think, like, if she was the one who introduced the magic in the first place, that means that there'd have to be a beginning timeline where the magic already existed and developed, right?
I think Syndrome created the magic. I think Syndrome, with his technological advancements and zero gravity stuff, is the one that created the radioactivity, created the magic, and then introduced it, by and large, introduced it into toys and introduced it into the ecosystem. And then I think Boo probably happened around 2010 is probably when Boo, like Monsters Inc. actually happened in Boo's timeline. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but then it just feels like, because then initially Brave wouldn't have had the magic. So that means that the first timeline, like let's say like we're looking at it as like the very first timeline that ever happened. That means Brave didn't happen the way that it did in the first timeline. Because Boo had not existed and couldn't have traveled back yet. And then if Syndrome was the one who created the 0 point energy, and that's the entire magic that even as time goes on and then travels back, it then the timeline would be different the second time around because then they would have the magic.
Yeah.
Like I feel like something would have to be
But I
different there.
think you run into this issue anytime you bring up like time travel or interdimensional travel or things. That's why Marvel's in such a big hole right now, because once you introduce those things, it becomes
Confusing.
complicated. Yes.
I mean, because think about it.
I don't know.
Like if time travel does exist right now. Okay, this is going to be a weird tangent, and I probably shouldn't go on this for too long. But like, if time travel existed right now, are we in the first timeline, or are we in the changed timeline?
I don't know.
Who knows?
It's like that
Anyway,
episode of Community where he's like, "You have now created 5 potential timelines," and then it shows all the timelines.
the Community is so funny, and that episode is fantastic. I love that episode.
I think what it all comes down to is the only person that will ever know is Robot Jesus.
Wally the Robot Jesus. That is right. That is right. Oh my god. I wonder if this is a thing that they did plan on purpose, like Pixar.
I have no idea.
Hey,
I
someday.
kind of doubt it, and I bet they're just like, wow, people are crazy.
Hey, if I ever work for Pixar one day, I'll let you know. That'll be the
You're
first
gonna
question I ask. I'll be like, is the Pixar theory real or fake?
or not.
We
I
will
love
find
it.
out that question.
Yeah, well, report back to us. So let us know what y'all think about the Pixar theory, what questions you have. I hope this was entertaining, informational. I don't know. I just think it's a fun topic to discuss with people because it's a lot, but it's really entertaining. So let us know what you think. But yeah, Owen, you got anything to add?
Y'all do some of your own thinking, do some of your own research. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know if you think it's real or phony. And just if you have other questions that you want us to ponder on, just let us know.
Yeah. All right. That's it for this week's episode of the Pain and Panic Trip Planning Podcast. Thank you all for joining us. We hope you're one step closer to planning your magical Disney vacation. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss next week's episode. If you need help planning your next Disney vacation, I'd love to help you. Or Universal. Epic Universe tickets are on sale and it's a little complicated, so let me know. I'd be happy to help. You can contact me at haley.ragsdale at academytravel.com. Follow me on Instagram at haley.ragsdale and Owen at Owen_Rederer. Until next time, bye-bye.
See ya.